Hey there, YouTube. So, I did something today I thought I'd never do. I bought a welder from Harbor Freight. Now, I've got a really good MIG welder. It's an old Hobart, back from when Hobart still made their products in the USA. It's a MIG only machine. I've really kind of been in the market for a multi-process machine. Anybody that watches my channel regularly knows I do a lot of repair work on larger equipment. And a lot of times stick welding is just the right process for that job. These exact welders just recently came out at Harbor Freight. I'd never seen them before. I went in there yesterday for some little odd and end things, and I saw them and I was looking at it. I thought the price was pretty reasonable for what it is. And this one's kind of nice because it does have the MIG as well as spool gun capability. My old Hobart does not actually have the attachments to put a spool gun on it. So that's a big plus, but this one, however, does not do AC TIG, so you cannot TIG weld aluminum with. Now, I learned to weld on a stick welder, and I've been welding for many years, but I've never actually done any TIG welding. It's a process I'd like to learn, which is part of the reason why I'm really interested in buying a multi-function machine. Before I bought this, I asked them in the store specifically, if I buy this machine and I do not like it, can I return it, even if it's not broken? They said yes, as long as you do it with the receipt within the first 90 days. Now that is a big advantage over buying something online, because returns online are a freaking hassle. You have to ship the thing back, maybe they send you your money back, maybe you don't, maybe you have to file a dispute, so on and so forth. At least a local brick and mortar store, if you don't like it, you bring the thing back. I've got a rather demanding project to do today, and that's why I decided to go ahead and buy this welder today. I'll get to run it through its paces and see if this thing's going to work for me or not, and be able to take it back right away if it doesn't. What we're doing today is we've got a new cutting edge for this skid steer bucket, and we're going to weld it on. We're welding half-inch thick steel to half-inch thick steel. And it's a perfect stick welding job. It's a perfect thing to test this thing out. We should be able to test out the duty cycle. If it can handle this, it should be able to handle anything I'm going to use it for. So anyway, let's get this thing opened up and plugged in and get to it. Got an operator's manual. Okay, in the top here, looks like we've got some consumables, rollers. We got a knob. Okay, that's for the regulator here. We got a gas regulator. Let's see, what do we got here? We got made in China flux core wire. And then we got made in China ER70S6. Let's see. We got a box here. This is the TIG torch. They also give you some TIG consumables. Welding cable, ground cable, gas hose. Okay. Looks like we got a gas hose. And our stick holder and ground clamp. Pull the welder out. Got the small den style plug. Power cable. I don't see a MIG gun though. Maybe they've got it inside here. Let's see here. Okay, yep, the MIG gun is inside. Looks fine. It's a little on the short side, I think. But it looks fine. Gun's a little light and chintzy here. Trigger feels okay. Now I did mention that this is spool gun capable, however it does not come with the spool gun. But I want to run this thing through its paces, make sure I'm going to keep this thing before I go and buy a spool gun for it. Anyway, let's get this thing plugged in, set up. We're going to set it up for stick weld as soon as we're ready to weld here. Okay, so we've got this machine all set up here now. I welded a couple of test pieces on a piece of rusty old scrap metal. This one's 6011. Doesn't look the best, I could probably do better. It has been years since I've done any stick welding. These two are 7018 rather. They actually came out looking pretty decent, especially considering it's been years since the last time I've stick welded. Now we got it in stick welding mode here, and our amps fully adjustable, 170 amps, all the way down to 25 amps. But our voltage, however, doesn't seem to do much. And you wait a second and it'll come back the same voltage it was before. Wait a second, same voltage it was before. So that doesn't seem to be adjustable in stick welding mode. Anyway, we've got our new cutting edge all set up, ready to go here. It may look a little like it's not centered, but that's because the old cutting edge here is not worn evenly. Also, we have a very large gap here, and that's because the underside of the cutting edge is worn away, making this be higher than it should be. We've still got the bucket on the skid steer. We've got the bucket tipped down till it's just on the ground. We're not picking any weight up off of it. And we're on a fairly flat concrete floor, and you want your cutting edge to be flat to the ground when your bucket's flat on the ground. Got some 1/8 inch 6011 electrode that we're going to run our root in with. It's next morning now. By the time I got this side welded up, it was getting late, so I went home. Welded this all in with 1/8 inch 6011 and 7018. They're not the prettiest welds I've ever done, but they're acceptable. They're big multi-pass welds. I'm certainly a bit rusty at stick welding. I haven't done it in many years, but I'm very impressed with the performance of the welder so far. Welded several rods back to back, never kicked out. The weld arc quality was pretty decent. I didn't really have any trouble. Starts were pretty easy. I did stick the rod a couple of times on 7018 on restarts, but really not too bad. And considering how rusty I am at stick welding, I'm pretty happy with it. What we're going to do next here is we're going to flip this bucket over, and we're going to do some welding on the back side. Now, to really test this out, I went ahead and I grabbed some 5/32 6011 on my way out today, so we can run it at a higher amperage. I also grabbed some hard-facing rods, and those run, higher amperage as well. So, especially on the hard-facing, I should just be able to lay bead after bead after bead after bead without stopping, and see how much we can do before this welder kicks out on its duty cycle. So anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so we've got this all done here. Put 3 pounds of hard facing rod down. All we've done here is just chip the slag and wire brushed it. I did use 2 different types of hard facing rods. That's why we have 2 different weld bead appearances here. But they really laid down quite nice. I was running between 120 to 160 amps. Laying this down just as fast as I physically could, switching rods as quick as I could. I was trying to find where this machine would overheat and shut down, however it never did shut down. I did at one point have the rod holder smoking a little bit because it was so hot. I welded past what I was really comfortable with, where I felt like I wanted to stop, take a break, but I just kept going anyway, trying to find where the machine would shut off, and it never did, so I am very impressed. As a stick welder, I think this is actually a very good welder. I haven't tried out the other modes on it yet, but if this video does well, I certainly will make some videos on trying out the different modes on this welder. So if you want to see that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.